I don't agree to that because I feel that, it's okay to say be positive, but it is difficult for people to be positive while they are in that situation when
Yes.
there's so much of uncertainty lying along with them.
Right.
So I still feel that, instead of trying to tell them to be positive, we have to tell them to take each day at a time and enjoy each day of their life. And
We have always been fascinated by the power of the will to live. Like all creatures in the animal world, human beings have a fierce instinct for survival. The will to live is a force within all of us to fight for survival when our lives are threatened by a disease such as cancer. Yet this force is stronger in some people than in others. Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, our guest will be Ms. Vandana Gupta ma'am. She is the founder and chairperson of We Care Foundation, a strong advocate of patient care and caregiver support. She leads from the forefront to ensure We Care Foundation helps them face cancer with hope, confidence, and maintain a good quality of life. She's a passionate about bringing value to the life of cancer patient and spends significant amount of time serving and meeting patient and their families. She is driven by the motivation to ease this difficult emotion and physical journey for diagnosis to treatment for such patients. And firstly, I want to ma'am congratulate for this. Actually, you are doing this is a very great work for this whole humanity. I want to congratulate you for this, and also I want to welcome you in this session for actually agreeing to share your thoughts and ready for this session. So it's a kind of a pleasure for us. Thank you for joining us.
thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on the will to live. I'm really happy about it, and thanks once again. Namaste.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure too. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is the will to live. Sometimes the biology of cancer will dictate the course of events regardless of the patient attitudes and fighting spirit. These events are often beyond our control, but patients with positive attitudes are better able to cope up with disease related problems and may respond better to therapy. Many physicians have seen how two patients of similar ages with the similar diagnosis and degree of illness and treatment programs experience vastly different results. One of the few apparent difference is that one patient is pessimistic and the other is optimistic. So my very first request to you is please explain to our viewers how your attitude helps you to conquer such kind of a situation. I'm sure you have worked in this regard a lot, so I'm sure you are the best person who can answer this question.
Thank you for asking this question because being positive and stay positive and be, don't be pessimistic are the questions, are statements that we often tell the patient and the caregiver and the family. But I don't agree to that because I feel that, it's okay to say be positive, but it is difficult for people to be positive while they are in that situation when
Yes.
there's so much of uncertainty lying along with them.
Right.
So I personally feel that, instead of trying to tell them to be positive, we have to tell them to take each day at a time and enjoy each day of their life. And also to say, understand that, if a patient is empowered, if the patient is knowledgeable, if the patient knows exactly what is going to happen to him, and that is the role of a person, the doctor, and of support groups, that, you explain the disease to the patient properly, you explain about diet, you try to bring down the anxieties, and the biggest thing is to listen to them, and that adds more positivity to them without having to even say to be positive. So there, of course, there are people who are scared because they've always heard that cancer is something which kills you, or cancer is something which can't be treated. So you have to, take away those myths from their life. You have to tell them stories about how people who have had cancer are doing, how they have recovered and all that, and then they have to find their own flow. It's like a river, your
Yes.
thoughts are like a river, so they just flow, and the moment you find that they are flowing in a direction where you don't want the river to go, you put like a bank so that the river direction changes. It's the same thing in patients, that you need to explain to them and listen to them and then talk to them. And like, I can't say to be positive to a person who's probably not or got out of his job because of his
Mm.
cancer. How can he stay positive? So we have to understand what is the reason for the person to be negative, and then work on those reasons and then give him alternatives.
Indeed, ma'am. Actually, you have mentioned all these real problems people face, and I'm very happy that you discussed all these things with us. And ma'am, my next question to you is: as you work with such patients, so I want to know what kind of a challenges you people face when you say that when you see such kind of a patients.
See, when you see a cancer patient come for treatment, um, there are problems like logistics. Most of the people who come from out of station find it difficult to understand what is happening in, say, if they're in a city like Mumbai or Calcutta or Delhi. They are big towns and they've come from smaller towns, so they are very apprehensive about the stay in the big towns. Then to
Right.
find a place to stay, and that is really a challenge, because in their own homes in the village they might be staying in a small home or a big home or whatever it is, but they're not paying for it. Everything is available
Yes.
here. Like in a city like Mumbai, the minimum charges that they would be required to pay would be about 200 rupees a day. So if they're paying 200, which becomes 6,000 rupees a month, that means a large chunk of their money goes for the accommodation. And then is the ability to maneuver around the city, because we always say go from say Dadar to Parel. But how does one go from Dadar to Parel? He doesn't know. The person who has come from a village or a small town
Exactly.
does not know where is Dadar and where is Parel and what is the distance between those two places. Can he take a bus? Can he take a taxi? Can he walk? So all those things, just keep bothering the patient. And of course, the added challenge of the finances that are involved in the treatment. They are scared to ask the doctor what will be the cost of the treatment. Can I get a cheaper option? Because they feel that if they annoy the doctor in some way, or they ask too many questions, the doctor is overwhelmed by the number of patients who are there. So they get a little worked up that if they ask too many questions, the doctor may get upset and may not treat them well. So all
Right.
those fears are there in their mind and their family's mind. And I remember for myself, I must tell you that, I was supposed to go and meet the doctor for a clinical trial. And at that time, 28 years back, I didn't know what a clinical trial meant. And I had a lot of questions. But when I went to the doctor, it was like almost crying out in front of him because I was not able to understand what he was saying. So
Mm.
imagine somebody who's educated, who can ask questions, has this challenge. What would be the repercussion on a patient who's not so educated, who's scared, and who cannot ask the questions? So the patients and their families and their caregivers are really in a lot of trauma and a lot of trouble. So I personally feel that, if people who they are interacting with, whether it is family members or whether it is volunteers in the organization or whether they are the doctors, everybody has to be a little more humane, and that takes care of a lot of issues. Because if you just say go to room number so and so, where's that room number in the hospital? I don't know. Till I really become familiar with the hospital, I will not know which room number.
Right.
So you have to guide them how to go to that room number. So that is what I feel, that we are also mechanical sometimes in our approach, that we don't realize that somebody may not know. I mean, think of it yourself, that you are in a hospital or in a bank or any other place, and the counter person tells you that, go and meet so and so at counter number so and so. Will you not like to know more about how to go there, how to meet that person? It's the same thing with the patients. And we should always, I feel, take whatever experience we are getting on ourselves to see how much we could have done without getting more information. So my thought is that the patients have to be empowered with knowledge of the treatment, of the logistics, about everything, so that they are more at ease.
Indeed, ma'am. Actually, you have defined the whole thing, and I'm very happy that you have discussed with us all those things. And actually, you have stressed on the main challenges people face when they come for treatment in different cities. And ma'am, my next question to you is actually the topic for our session is this: the will to live. So my question to you is: many people are still living someone else's vision of life instead of what they want. We have one life. It's essential that we live each day in the best possible way based on what we desire, our ethics, passion, and the vision we have living our life. So my question to you is, why is it important, or it's a kind of a request to you, our please explain our viewers, why is it important for one to realize his or ambiguous thoughts about life?
I think COVID has taught all of us uh, how it is important for us to live our own life. Because in the COVID time, that was like facing death every single moment, because you didn't know what would happen next and how you would be affected by COVID. And then we've heard enough stories about being in the hospital in the ICUs with people who have lost their senses, or people who were not being able to treat, or the loved ones who have passed away and could not be cremated properly by the family. So all these stories are in our mind, and we have learned that we need to enjoy each day. So again, I come to this thing that we have to have we all know that the day we are born, we are going to die. So, do we stop doing things because we know that we are going to die? No, we don't. We have our ambitions, we have our way of working, we have our ways of making friends, we have our way of having social interactions, we have our way of achieving, working towards achieving something in life. So all those things are important factors to be able to do something in our life, to be able to have the will to live. So we need to understand that there should be hopes in our life, there should be desires in our life. There's nothing wrong in having a desire. As long as you don't do anything wrong to fulfill that desire, it's fine. The desire should be a healthy desire. Your hopes should be healthy. It should not be like, if I'm like a farmer and I want to have the whole of the land in my village to be named after my name. That's my hope. That doesn't work out. What we have to see is how much we can work towards achieving what we want to have to be happy. And money is not everything. We can't think equate all our happiness and our willingness to live only because of money. Today, if Mr. Ambani has a huge palace and we begin to think that I want to live because I want to have something like that, I want to live because I want to have something like that, is fine. But if I don't get something, I will commit suicide. That is wrong. So it should always be realistic will to live, to have hopes, to be happy about things, and satisfied. Satisfaction is the most important thing in your life, and satisfaction should not make you lazy. Satisfaction should be your gratefulness to God to give you what is good for you. That should be, that type of satisfaction is important, because if we begin to think that now I'm satisfied, I don't have to do anything more, then that you are going to lose out on your will to live. But
Yes.
if you are saying that you are satisfied with what your God has given you, but you can still work towards giving something. It can be like, I'm satisfied because I've got 100 rupees. Now out of that 100 rupees, if I can share 20 rupees with somebody, that should be something which will also give me satisfaction. And that should be my will to live, that if I get so much, I will be able to help so many people. And that is my will to live, because that is what is going to give me happiness.
Yes. Indeed, ma'am. Actually, you have explained this very clearly, and I'm sure the people, those who are watching this session, they are also going to find this insightful, and they must be enjoying this. And ma'am, my next question to you is my question to you is, how do you define the importance of social connection in life? Do you think people having a good social connection and means actually help them to conquer such kind of problems?
uh, I don't know whether you mean having social connections to make you rise up in life. I don't think so. I
No,
think so.
actually,
uh,
people those who suffer from such critical diseases, so having good social connection and good environment around you help to conquer or actually fight with such diseases, help you.
Yeah, so having a good environment around you is extremely important, because that is what will keep you happy and healthy. Because you are happily going around, and nobody, like if you have cancer, somebody will come and tell you that no, now you have cancer and you're going to die, and who's going to look after your children or your family, and or how will your children get married, or who will be the earning member in your house or something. So what have you done? You have spoiled the environment around him, because him or her, because you are constantly negating everything that cancer can bring. And cancer is not always all negative. There will be some periods of negativity, there will be some things which will be negative, but there will also be positivity which comes out of the whole thing. So the environment to be healthy has to be important. again, I will quote myself that, when people would come to visit me, uh, I would tell them that if you're going to talk about cancer, and if you're going to tell me how bad it is to have cancer, or that I may not live, or that my children are so young and they will lose their mother and all those things, I don't want to talk to you. If you're talking to me about, say, the movies that are going in town, if you're going to talk to me about the plays that are going in town, if you're going to talk to me about anything else, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. So sometimes you have to be strong enough to be saying that. But if you can't, then people who are coming to meet you, the environment that they are creating around you is important, because they should understand that everybody knows that you are facing a life threatening disease, but you have to make it as easy as possible for somebody who's in that stage. So that is important as far as the environment goes. As far as your social connections go, I think it's very, very important for everybody who is interacting with you to know about the disease, or the side effects of the disease, or the side effects of the treatment, before they begin to give you advice. Because in our country, we have X number of people who are trained doctors, and we have 5X number of people who are not trained doctors but believe that they are doctors. So anything they might have heard, they will say, "Are chemotherapy? This is what happens in chemotherapy." But have you had chemotherapy? No, I have not had. How can you tell me what happens in chemotherapy? So that is important, and those are the factors, which, so you may have a extremely good social life, you may have lots of friends, but what type of friends are they? Are they friends who are going to pull you down, or are they friends who will make it lighter and easier for you to be able to have the will to live? That is the important factor, and that is what people who are friends should do. That is what is important from the patient's point of view, to have a circle of friends, or your social circle, who's knowledgeable, who's going to be guiding you in the right way, rather than pulling you down. For example, somebody may need blood when you come for treatment. Now the others may tell you that, oh, getting blood is so difficult, you may get infection because of the blood that is given to you, all the things which can make you feel negative. There may be some who will say, I know of an organization which can help you in getting the blood group and the blood that you need. Now that is positivity, and that will give me the desire to live and to be happy. I hope I've answered
Yes,
your
ma'am. Actually,
question
you have
properly.
covered. Yes. And ma'am, as we actually talked and covered about social connections, so is one question becomes obvious that our daily lives have been digitalized, tracked, and tied up in matrices. Our real selves have split into online avatars and profile picture and status updates. Our virtual life is sunny and bright. It's where you post your prettiest picture and tell all your best news. But is it real? Most importantly, is it healthy?
Very difficult question to answer in the time of virtual connections, because that may be something which is giving you happiness, because you have done something big or small during this period, and you want to share the news with everybody. So if you and your circle of friends are happy to receive such news, it's fine, because that is giving you a desire to be, to tell others that you are not unhappy, or that you are very happy and you can deal with situation. And dealing with situation is also a way of dealing with life. But at the same time, there has to be a restriction on the number of posts that you are putting every day, on the type of posts that you are putting every day. Is it only related to, say, disease and what happens about it, or is it related to some good things that have come in your way and you want to share those good things? So the it's really each individual's choice of what. And I'm sure that if you put too many things which are not so relevant, people or your friend circle will either stop dropping you, or they will like tell you, if they're honest friends, that don't put these posts so often, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, I may be traveling all over the world, and if I want to, I mean, am I traveling there to put the pictures for others to see, or I am traveling because I enjoy traveling? That is one question that I should ask. Whichever picture I'm putting on social media, is it being put because I think it's relevant to the others, or it is because I want to just show off that I've done this and I've done that and all that? So that's my understanding of the whole
No,
thing.
ma'am, actually, you have defined this. And ma'am, I can say there's a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take too much of your time. So, moving to my last question of this session, and particularly this question is about youth. Actually, youth is a time of enormous energy. A lot of youth is in confused state of mind. The youth of today's generation need clarity and balance. They have become the victim of social media information overload. Everywhere there's a compulsion. They are addicted to smoking, alcohol, drugs, and gruesome video materials. There's been substance abuse like never before. So, what are the some recommendations or advice would you like to give to them, just to remind them of their enormous energies, how to balance and lead their life well?
Well, since I'm 70, whatever I say will be considered as a bhashan for the, for the youth. But I think it's their life, and they have to understand, sorry, how well they want to use their life, and do they want to use it constructively so that all their energy is directed in a very constructive manner for helping somebody else, or do they want to come in a situation when somebody else will have to look after them? So first, their responsibilities have to be understood by them, whether it is at home, whether it is with their friends, and never feel that if I don't smoke, then people will laugh at me, or if I don't have drugs, then people will, like make fun of me. That's not important. What is important is your own health and your well-being. How useful you can be to the society, and can you be useful if you are consuming these products? Go ahead and do it. But if you can't be useful after consuming these products, then you need to reflect and think. And each one has to take their own decisions. We as elders may say that don't do this and don't do that. And whatever we say has to be negated by the youth because they feel that we never got this opportunity. But they have to realize that we also had vices in our time when we were younger. And how we circumvented those vices to get over it and how we fought for it. So as a lady, I can say that, maybe when I was younger, there were lots of things which came my way, but it was how I dealt with it. Was I scared to deal with it? Was I scared to say that I'm not going to do it? Or, whether I was like, this is my life and I'm going to do the best possible. So each one has to take a decision depending on their focus and in life and their aim in what they want to be in life, and then carry on. So the youth has to be more responsible, they are responsible. I'm not saying that they're not responsible,
Yes.
but they have to be more, like they have to keep doing this analysis of their life and their productivity and everything. And their own analysis will help them better than anybody else guiding them or giving them a lecture on not to do this and not to do that.
Exactly. I think you have very beautifully summed up all the things. And this is really a very valuable piece of advice from your side, ma'am. And thank you so much for joining and giving your important time. It was a kind of a healthy conversation with you over the topic. And we look forward to conduct more such sessions with you in future. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it was a great opportunity.
My pleasure.
And I
ma'am.
believe in living to the best possible. Otherwise, I had stage 3 cancer, and if at that time I had lost my will to live, today I wouldn't have been here. And it's 28 years. And smallest thing in life gives you happiness. Today, if somebody comes to meet me and says, we'll support weekend, that's enough to keep me happy for the next 1 week or 10 days. So, you have to find happiness in the smallest thing to be able to live life happily. Thank you.
It's really great, ma'am. That's really very kind of you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone